Yeah, Urooj, do you mind giving us a clap?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Can you give me a clap?
Woo!
That was the worst clap. Urooj, thank you so much for coming here to Journey of a Joke, an audio visual experience where we speak to different talented comedians and understand their craft and what goes on behind the mind of said comedian. They weren't available, so thank you for coming.
Thank you, guy from BBC.
Oh,
Who is
nice.
that?
I don't know.
That-
Oh, the David Attenborough. David
Yeah!
Attenborough voice is slightly different, though,
Little
right?
bit you like
It's
that.
like, and then she took the elevator and came into the studio.
Now we observe the comedian backstage burping and farting nervously.
That's an amazing
Yeah, is
Yoda. Thank you so much, Urooj, for coming. This is our sixth season of Journey of a Joke, and I think the previous times that we called you on, you were like, I don't think I have much to give.
Yeah.
I completely understand that as well, because I think a few other comics says I don't know what to give, and I was like, don't worry, I'll just talk to you. It's just about where you're at with comedy, and so thank you for finally thinking you're big enough to actually give education.
That's true. I thought, what would I say when you asked me earlier? Because I was like, I don't actually like, because those bits came out in 2019 and now I don't like them as much anymore because I think I can do better. So then I was like, and how I can pretend that I'm good at comedy for an hour? It's too much. I was like, oh no, I know so much. तुक्का लग गया मेरा.
तुक्का लग गया.
But then this time I went to therapy and I feel better about myself. So I was like, you know what? I can talk about it for some time. I'm
Yeah.
not so bad.
No, but I don't know where that comes from, because see, for someone who's seen you do stand up and like back Hive 2018,
Yes.
19,
16,
16
17, I think.
itself was incredible to watch. That's why I think I was like, hey, can you please, I have this thing. I have a
You were
show.
the first person who tweeted about me and Somera. Like, I know these are like really silly things, but you were like, oh, I saw two really nice comics. And then me and Somera went back and we were like, oh my God, Abish tweeted about us. And we were like so excited. And all of that just kept us going in comedy. Whenever comics that we looked up to or like just, saw perform, and they were like, you were good. We were so excited by that validation. So yeah, I remember that. I was like, guys, Abish. And my friends also took me so seriously after you tweeted about me. They're like, hey, we'll come for an open mic or what? I'm like, oh, now you want to talk to me? Because I'll be hot shit someday.
I think I'd come to watch you guys, or I was performing and I saw, and of course, two very distinct voices. But what really stood out was something that I was lacking for me at that time was authenticity in your comedy, which is something that people kind of progressively get to doing.
Yeah.
You started with authentic experience.
I know what you're saying because even now, I try to, I'm like, how do I be more myself on stage and not what I think stand-up comedy sounds like, like I know what you're saying, like ultimate goal is to be the funniest version of yourself, not just be funny, right? Because being funny, so many people can be funny, but like only you can be the funniest version of yourself. So, but I'll say, I think maybe we started very authentically because we were so young and narcissistic that we were like, हम तो best ही होंगे, हमें क्या change करने की ज़रूरत है. I'm really happy we started like right out of college because we had very few inhibitions, and we bombed so much at that time that we learned how to bomb. Like I'm sure if I started now at 26, I think I would be a lot more scared. For me, ऐसा you can start at any age, of course, but I think I would be so much more. I would have so much more at stake. When did you start?
2008. 87 born, 2008. Can someone do the math, please?
Yeah, this is very tough. Okay. He was 21.
I was 21.
Thank
you so much, Shruti, for answering it from the PCR. I was 21. You were also 21.
Yeah. Okay. So now my question seems so fucking irrelevant. After trying to do maths for so long, I wish I had a deeper question.
That's why comedians work in rule of three, because they just remember 3 points. Those are the counts we know.
But do you think it helped that you started so young? Or do you think, would you have more inhibitions if you didn't done it for since?
I think that's very, very valid. I think the younger you go on stage, the more inhibitions go away. Being young and starting comedy or being doing any kind of performative pieces really does take your inhibition away.
Yes.
And more importantly, you learn at a very young age to fail on stage.
Yes.
And with stand up, the stink of failure is so harsh that you want to come the next day and wash it away.
Like one day, this is very recent, I was in Surat and it's such a good show. I was like, man, there's nobody like me. I'm a comedy killer. I was like, oh, Mumbai better watch out. I was like, man, everyone in Surat dropped their panties for me. So I was feeling so good. And I came and I went to Lower Parel, okay, and this was like a private club, like rich people show. They couldn't give two shits about me. It was silent. And I was like, yesterday I was everything, today I'm nothing.
You're only as good as your last mic. Not your
Yeah.
last show, not your last performance, not your last joke, your last mic.
Yep.
Or do you think that's like that's the way I kind of think, where it's not about whether the comedian is good or not, because when a lot of times when you go and watch a comic, you go watch them once. And this is a standard statement we hear all the time. You can't judge a comedian or anyone's art form by the first and the one that they do. It has to be a law of average of that time.
Yep.
Specifically, when you watch a video of yours from the past and you're working on a newer set of yours in the present, even though it did better, there's still like, I'm much better than this now.
This is so true that you are only as good as your last mic, because my confidence when I enter the next green room depends on what happened in the last on stage. Like,
The same. And if you have two bad mics, you're like, I'm gonna take a week off and wash it away and come back.
Who am I?
Do you enjoy crafting material on paper during mics or chilling with friends? Like, can you run us by a law of average of how do you go from inception of a thought to, this is best?
So it's like inception of a thought, then quickly write down the thought in a notebook or like on your phone ka notes, okay? Because this is very, like, for me, I have very bad memory. You can ask me what I
Abish
did.
Matthew Hi-Fi is Urooj
Same?
Ashfaq, accepting on the memory part. What do you think all of this is? This is all memory.
Dude, I have 3 notebooks. There's 2 on the floor. I have such bad memory. You can ask me what I did last week. It's one of the reasons I never win any arguments, because I don't even remember what I said or what I did. So I forget everything. So quickly first write it down. Then second is try out the premise in an open mic. Just feel it, see if, and hope something comes on stage. So that's how I get my like initial 1 or 2 jokes, and then when they are like laughing and I've gotten something on stage, then I come back and I write it down.
And then you expand the punchlines into proper word by word written, or you just add thoughts on the bullet points?
If I said a sentence that was very funny and I know if I change the arrangement then it won't be funny, then I write it down exactly. Yeah.
Because there are some punchlines in this bit I want to point out and be like, hey, this seems like it's like written.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, it's crafted.
To the T sometimes.
Exactly.
I write down. Yeah. But sometimes I'm like, this part I'll have a little fun. Like, so I like break them down to like fun parts and parts that I have to say exactly. But I always try to take it without thinking first on stage. So I have less inhibitions.
That's good. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what I should do. Because
Yeah.
what I do is that I overthink a bit, of course, like much like everybody else. But then I take the sheet on paper. I mean, I write everything out on a sheet.
Yeah.
I take it on stage. And instead of improvising, I'm trying to remember what's next. And sometimes like, अरे but इसमें मैंने कुछ सोचा था ये try. Like if I go too prepared on I want to try these 10 points, then I mess up all 10. But if I go with like, I want to talk about this and see what comes out. Is that what I should be doing?
This is, I think, a solution, because even I have remembering issues. So I literally for 20-minute spots, sometimes I take my book on stage. It looks very bad. Like, what genius thing have you written that you have to carry a notebook? But it's like, I'm sorry, I've like bad, I really have bad memory. That's the problem. But I think if you're trying something new, you should really just take the premise and go, because this is what even I do. I try to remember. And then I'm not in the moment, and then I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
And if you're in the moment and having fun with something new, because there's always excitement when you're trying something new, right? Then you'll probably go to places you wouldn't have gone before. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think we have similar problems. You should definitely try to not take a bias on stage.
Got it. On that note, are you ready
I'm ready.
to watch yourself on screen?
Yuck.
And for everybody else to also hear it and understand Urooj's comedic genius. Should I say genius?
No, please don't. It will kill me. It's you!
Urooj Ashfaq! Urooj Ashfaq! Urooj Ashfaq!
Sorry, I might have to remove this because audio-wise it's weird. But wow, can you turn down the gain when I was announcing you on stage?
I loved it so much because you hyped me up so much. It made it sound like, like a superstar. It's like someone announced Shah Rukh on stage or something. Like I know it makes you look so annoying, but it makes me look so good.
Yeah,
I used you shamelessly.
yeah.
Good for you. I stay far away, okay? I stay in Navi, Mumbai. Yup. Takes me 2 hours to go home and come from home. So I'm always thinking about going back home. Like I'm here right now physically, but mentally I'm in bus number 105. And I'm hoping I get a window seat. But when it's late at night, I have to call a Uber, okay? And the thing is, no one wants to go to Navi Mumbai, including myself if I had a choice. So I have to call the Uber driver and I have to confess कि भैया नवी मुंबई जाना है. And then he will decide कि हम जाएंगे कि नहीं. And they always respond in one of two ways, okay? Like the first way is very enthusiastic. It's like, हाँ मैडम जाएगा ना मैडम, of course जाएगा, हमारा तो काम है जाना. And I'm like, sir, you are too enthusiastic. आप मेरा rape करने वाले हो. And the second way is more like, हाँ मैडम जाएगा ना मैडम, of course जाएगा. And then he hangs up and he cancels the trip. One time I booked a cab, okay, and I said भैया खारघर जाना है. He said okay in a normal pitch. He cut the call. He started the trip without me. I was like मेरे साथ. You're not an assassin. I'm not sending you on a hit job. जाके शुक्ला जी का murder करके आओ खारघर में.
The bit we're discussing today is Uber driver and grandmother. This is the beginning of the bit. When you entered, what I found really interesting is that because I think the audience is applauding really hard.
Yeah.
I think you got the first laugh by number one character being overwhelmed, blushing, and walking off like my time is done, and then coming back. All of it in just performance. So if you're listening to it, you might not understand where the laugh came in. But if you watch it, you're like, of course, like this is the first joke that came in so quickly, even without using a word. Though I do feel like this was, of course, cut out and then
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
a lot of it. So this was like the bit that came in much later after your performance. Right?
Yes, yes. This is the starting when you called me on. They were just applauding so much. I was just not like used to it. And I think it's because Comic Stan or something came out that time, so they just seen me or something. So they just had little recognition, and you and I had hosted it together.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
I think that room was just very excited, and I was like, this has never happened.
We'll keep this
So,
for sure.
yeah.
6 quick punchlines, and then the question I want to ask
I
you
don't
is
think
that
we should do maths for the rest of this.
I think you're right. No, the reason I'm saying is the word that you said, I have to call him up and I have to confess. I have to go to Kharghar. So what I want to ask you is that did that word come instinctively in the first mic or did you write it down? Because remember we were talking about the writing versus things are coming. These are all very written.
Yeah, these are all very written. I think Confess came on stage and then I wrote it and I was like, I'm never letting this go.
Okay, so it came to you
It
on
came on
stage and they're
stage.
like, I'm teaking
Yeah,
this.
then I wrote.
So you didn't sit and write this and then try it on stage.
You know, the thing is, how I say it, right? That comes to me on stage. I must have written ki, I'm always thinking about going back home and I want the window seat. But the tone in which I say it and the pauses which I take, that only comes through going to open mics and working that bit again and again. Like that bit becomes like a song.
Like this is a fit bit.
Yeah, like if you see there's another one, I only have 2 bits called Casual Relationships. It's not as ratified as this one. Like it is also, because I do try to like just be like, the recording ke din pe, we'll just do it exactly, So then, this is the fully. So this rhythm, the words, everything. I definitely concentrated on all of it. I even edited the words, how I say the word. I did all of that.
Oh, so you like before you went and taped it, you went syllable by syllable and you made sure that it is exactly the way you want it.
Yeah,
That is
with this one I did do that. You know why though? Like I don't think it's because I'm a perfectionist. I think it was just anxiety that if I don't do it exactly right, it will not get that big a laugh. I think maybe moving forward, because I will be recording in like the next couple of months, I'd be a little more chiller.
okay. So good. So now you're coming into your own voice of like, if
Yeah.
it's loose, that's just the way I would like to be instead of like being like super tight, 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 tight.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would be a little less controlling. I know what you're saying because when you look at this bit, you're like, oh, this is a written thing through and through. Like it's like a
Yeah.
yeah,
But the difference here is that even though it's written, your delivery is not, let's say, dry or deadpan. If you see your performance of it, it's like okay, the best way for me to describe on video is the expression I'm about to do, and the best way to describe this in audio medium is also the expression I'm about to do. So please use your imagination. Uruj is all the time using
the eyebrows.
like I
Yeah.
don't know if like not that, I'm not saying which part of the face, but the expression that you bring across is like I am also distressed and I'm smiling through my distress.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
It's
so
like,
helpless.
yeah, like the whole character in this bit is I'm so flustered, guys. I don't want to be saying this, but I'm saying it.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
character. So for this bit, that's the tone of the entire bit.
Yeah.
Even when the grandmother thing, because you're still being kind of like smart. You're not being dumb. You're being
Yeah.
smart, but you're being like passive aggressive. I wish I could stab you like that.
Yeah. This is I know everyone has also said this. Anyone who's like what this very known thing that you have to be a funny person, right? So like you're like you just have to like establish your character should have some conflict.
Yeah.
So mine is just that guys मुझे तो नहीं बोलना है लेकिन मुझसे बुलवा रहे हैं यार like ऐसे तो
Don't make me say it. Fine,
Yeah.
I'll say it.
बोल दिया मैंने.
Once, someone started and they left without me. Right? That was funny. Then your next act to that was, Arey, mere saath. Like the way you did it is like, Arey, like you're not at fault. You're like, Arey, aap bhul gaye honge. I'm
Yeah.
remaining. And then the assassin tag of Shukla ji, which I was like, nice.
Yeah. ऐसे
Nice.
शुक्ला जी का मर्डर करना है. That was me expanding the bit so it reaches the 8-minute limit of YouTube.
So that you can monetize it.
Yeah.
Lovely.
That was me trying to game the algorithm. Little bit. The thing is that you have to make your bit longer, right? So then I was like, okay, what are all the variations?
Could you
of-
explain a bit on, you have to expand the bit for YouTube.
Yeah. So the thing is, I think all comics also do this, where everyone's like, यार मेरा bit सिर्फ 5 मिनट का मुझे ना 8 मिनट का करना पड़ेगा. Because the thing is, apparently, these are like rumors, but I'm pretty sure it's true. YouTube promotes or like it promotes longer bits more. Like so, if your bit is like 8 minutes से ऊपर, then it's more likely to be like you might like this or you might like that and recommend it or start playing it automatically next. But that's obviously because everybody wants you to spend more time on their platform, so they will push longer videos than they would shorter. So I was told by multiple comics that make sure your video is at least 8 minutes. Even so, my video was only 7 minutes 24 seconds. Like I can see it there right now. But I was like, "ठीक है, chalo, I'm close to the limit at least."
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So one night what happened is I was trying to get home, okay, and 3 times people started the trip without me. And by the time the 4th guy came, I was in tears. So I sat in his cab and I was like, "Sir, आपको पता है मेरे साथ क्या हुआ आज?" He's like, नहीं बड़ा, आप बताने वाले हो सो. I was like, आपसे पहले 3 लोगों ने मेरे बिना ट्रिप स्टार्ट कर दिया और मेरे 150 रुपए चले गए. And he's like, हाँ मैडम बहुत बुरा हुआ आपके साथ. कुछ ऊपर ड्राइवर ना ऐसे ही करते हैं. I love crying. इनका कोई ईमान नहीं होता. I was like, he's right. There are bad people everywhere. I said, मैडम मैं आपसे एक बात पूछूं? वो मुस्लिम थे क्या? I was like, did he see my name? The thing is, my name is not obviously Muslim, right? It's not like Zubaida or Fatima or Mughal Azam. If my name was Mughal Azam, he would be like, ma'am, आप prime में जाओ, please. Micro, शर्म आ रही है.
One improv workshop that I took where they said, when you're doing a story, you pause at the most interesting part, you explore that, and then you play and you go to the next bit of the story.
Correct.
Here, you set up the entire context that somebody had cancelled. You could have done it much quicker, but there were laugh coming at everything. 3 guys cancelled, so I cried. आपको पता है मेरे साथ क्या हुआ? नहीं पता, but अब बताने वाला हूँ. Got a laugh there. 150 rupees cut गया. And then
Yes.
that was very funny because it
Yeah.
seemed like you were being still more loose here.
Yeah, so like this sob and everything, this is where I have fun. Like
Yeah.
this is not written to the T, but like that whole like आपको पता है क्या हुआ नहीं पर आप बताने वाली हो. Like that I have revised.
That you've
Yeah,
revised.
that I know ki because I have to, if I'm high, then the guy is like, I know बताने वाली. Because the thing is, I cry a lot in general, right?
Right.
So I know the beats of like when you cry and you're like, oh, you know what happened. I've thought about crying so much that I know people are like, no, but of course you're gonna tell me you're already crying. So like, I was like, okay, if I'm high, then the Uber driver is low. So that I had practiced.
That you had
But the
practiced.
sobbing and all, I was like, I'm such a pro. I'll figure it out.
The
With
reason
the
it's
crying.
good is that because you paused here and explained the entire characteristic immediately, which is important. But then you immediately continue, which is interesting. लोगों का ईमान नहीं होता. ऐसे there are bad people everywhere. By the way, ma'am, are they Muslim? And the audience reacted with a ooh.
Yeah, they were like,
which of course is this. I don't know where this new thing has come from because earlier there was no ooh in comedy. It was only haha or silence.
Yeah.
There was applause, laughter, chuckle, and silence.
It's
This ooh thing is very post internet.
yeah, it is. It's very, I think, I mean, I started in comedy very like 2016 only, and by that time oohs were there. The thing is, when I take it suddenly, I introduce the Muslim thing. Everybody is like, why is she going there? We thought it was going to be a bit about Khargar being far away, right? But thing is, this really happened, including me crying, people canceling. That's happened. Of course all of this has happened. Like
Okay.
me,
This is real.
yeah.
I thought sometimes what happens is that you have two different experiences and you
Yeah.
combine them to make them a bit.
So all of the jokes about how many times they've cancelled and how many permutation and combinations they cancel and how much they like how they respond, all of that is like many incidents put together and then me being like aisa bhi hota hai, वैसा भी होता है, ऐसा भी होता है. But one night I was crying because they'd cancelled 3 times and it was raining like it is now. Abhi monsoon ka season tha and I had traveled like 2.5 hours one way. Then I bombed at 2 open mics and then everyone was cancelling and not taking me back. So I started crying. And then I was crying in the Uber and then the guy went like, Muslim the kya wo? And I was like, Abhi? And the thing is, they're also suddenly shocked by this turn. But the thing is, because it really happened, like, why would I write this turn randomly into a story? I mean, if I would think of it, that would be really cool. But I wouldn't have been able to think of this if it hadn't happened.
Facts are stranger than fiction.
Yes.
So it's almost like that, right?
Yeah. Then, of course, I fictionalize and edit the story. But this happened. So
This
then
happened.
yeah.
Then it goes into like a bit of yours, which I find very interesting. Is that my name? Has he seen my name? Because it seems like after that, has he seen my name?
Yeah.
Anyway, you could have continued with the next bit of the part, but you stayed there. And have you seen my name? It's of course not outright Muslim. It's not like Fatima,
Not Shagufta.
Shagufta. By the way, Shagufta comes later, I know.
Yeah.
Shagufta, Fatima,
Fatima.
Mughal Azam,
Yeah.
because if my name is Mughal Azam, then they'll say, please take prime. Gets a laugh there, but micro, Sharamariya. Which is again, these seem like 2-3 words you're just whispering to yourself, almost
Yeah.
like to the audience.
Like, I'm like, guys, I have this thought also.
Yeah.
Yeah, that my name is not this or that. I tried many different permutations and combinations for that. And then I finally settled on Mughal Azam because I was like, who would you said in prime? Mughal Azam. He's a royalty. So, but I tried Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, everything I tried. But Mughal Azam really got them. But then I thought about it, okay? I have 2 hours to get home. I have 2 options. The first option is I can either be offended and be like, what do you mean Muslim the? How does that matter? And he'd be like, sorry madam, aisa kuch nahi hai, please 5 star dena, please 5 star dena. Or the second option is that I can find out for free what Hindus say to each other when they're alone about Muslims. And you know what I'm talking about, you've done it. Muslims also do that shit. So I was like, I think I should just agree with him. I was like, हाँ होंगे, मुसलमान होंगे. I said, Musalman, so you trust me? And he opened up. He was like, हाँ मैडम सारे मुस्लिम ऐसे ही होते हैं, सबके सब चोर हैं, 1 नंबर के चोर. I was like, शाहरुख खान भी? He's like, especially शाहरुख खान हर मूवी में सेम रोल करता है. I was like, that's fair. And he kept going. He was like, चोर है, नॉनवेज खाते हैं, बहनों से शादी करते हैं, नहाते नहीं है. I was like, इसमें से 2 तो मैंने आज ही कर लिए. I had a McChicken for lunch and haven't showered. How did he know? Maybe every stereotype is based in some truth.
So this setup, again, 2 options. One, I can stand up. I think directly the truth in this comedy is that I wanted to hear what Hindus say about Muslims.
Yeah.
You know it. You've done it. And you know, we
Yeah.
also do that shit. It immediately made it, that's
The reason I
true.
have to say that is because, see, I have to also make myself. The thing is, in real life, I didn't have to prompt him at all. He went, okay. And
Okay.
that's real life.
Right.
But if I make him so unlikable,
Yeah.
and if I don't make myself look like I'm scheming a little bit, they will not laugh because now I'm just complaining about a Uber driver who hates Muslims.
Was there a variation of this bit that you did which was absolute to the truth? And how
Yes.
was that? Did it feel like it felt odd?
The thing is, the audience still laughs at like the part where he's being ridiculous, but it doesn't feel good. Like I can
Yeah.
sense the audience is like, oh, this is funny in parts, but it's mostly an unfortunate thing that happened. You have to keep it funny every 10
It's
seconds.
uncomfortable funny versus, oh yeah, actually,
Like fun
fun
funny.
funny. Yeah,
You
this is
know?
fun funny.
Because in the comment section of this bit, people are like, we were really worried when she started, but luckily she didn't offend anyone. So I knew that was the pain point. So I can't make the Uber driver look completely unlikable. I cannot make myself look like a hero either because nobody wants to see that in comedy. So I'm also like, okay, I was like, maybe I'll also find out. So they're like, Arey, so you also egged him on. No, that's how it happened. But
Yeah.
you have to make them
Here's the
also.
tagline: Urooj Ashfaq, making unfunny fun funny.
I wish.
I need to work on mine. Okay.
The point of this was to interrupt him at some point and be like, sir, there are good people and bad people in every religion. India is my country. All Indians are my brothers and sisters. But he didn't stop. He went on for 2 hours. We were at the toll. He gave 30 rupees. He's like, Saleh Musalman. Now you're 15 minutes away from my house. And I was like, I have to say something, okay? So I gathered my courage and I was like, sir! I showed him my Uber app. I was like, Tino ke Tino, Hindu hai, Hindu hai, Hindu hai. Showed him the names. He's like, हाँ मैडम ऐसे ड्राइवर्स का ना कोई ईमान नहीं होता है और वैसे भी ऊबर ऐप में तो ग्लिच होते ही रहता है. And then I was like, now it's time for the big one. आपको पता है मैं भी मुस्लिम हूँ. And if there was like space to stand up in the cab, I would have. It was that moment, but I just straightened my spine and I looked into his rear view mirror. Hello, Muslim. He was like, he felt sorry. He was like, sorry madam, मैंने बहुत ज़्यादा बोल दिया है. ऐसा कुछ नहीं, सारे मुस्लिम थोड़ी ना ऐसे होते हैं. Please 5 star देना. He's like, मैडम आपको बुरा तो नहीं लगा ना? I was like, नहीं मेरी तो feelings ही नहीं है. It's totally fine. He's like, मैम कुछ और बात करें? He's like, sure. He's like, आप क्या करते हैं? I was like, I'm a writer. He's like, अच्छा, what's your age? I was like, I'm 23. He's like, आपके पापा क्या करते हैं? I was like, मैं import export का काम करते हैं मेरे पापा. He's like, तो चोर है. I was like, yep. Basically.
That's the end of your first bit, so to speak, Uber.
Yes.
Before grandmother starts,
Yeah.
which by the way is also stitched in such a way that it doesn't seem like there are 2 bits, but I'll get to that. If you do watch the video, you'll see that the subtitles also, this is the second time where it comes across, not subs, but they come in as
Yeah, that
like,
was me being
edit jokes.
experiment.
No, but that's good because what I've seen is that a lot of YouTube stand-up comedy videos are not traditionally just stand-up comedy videos. You're using elements of subtitling, filters,
Yeah.
opening, music, everything to portray comedy than just hear my words out.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it was very interesting as well. And here's a big one where she was like, here's time for the big one. मैं भी Muslim हूँ. You turn to your right a little bit and that very heroic pose and which you explain in it. My favorite bit in this is when you say all of this, say like, hi, in the rearview mirror, Muslim. It's so, nobody else can do that joke other than you can. In this bit, the way it's come across is like, yeah, this sounds like it sounds like what Urooj will do.
Yay, that's
See this now. What you're doing right now. This.
Ow.
See what I mean? This.
That's what every comic wants to hear. I mean, it's a good thing. If people say only you can do your joke, you're like, oh man, that feels so good that you're like, I think only you could do this. Actually, you know what? Can I just
Yeah. Please take a
this?
notebook. Okay, Urooj is reaching down to pick up her notebooks.
Yeah, so this has a lot of jokes in it also. But basically, this, it used to be 2 separate bits. Like, if you look at this, it says Uber's grandmother and Uber story. And literally, I was doing grandmother before setting up Uber.
Just to give you context of what's happening, there's a sheet Urooj has handed. It says, I solemnly swear I am up to no good, as a printed thing on top.
It's a Harry Potter reference.
But it's a set list. This is
It's a
a
set
set list of a 30-minute or a 1 hour bit.
This is 1 hour.
This is a
Yeah.
1 hour bit, out of which point number 6 is Uber story, and point number 5 is grandmother story. Oh, so in this, what I can see is that you did grandmother story before the Uber story, but
Yes.
in the final bit that you released, you flipped it over.
Correct.
Why is that?
I thought it was just more interesting to start by complaining about something that happened to me and then balance it, as opposed to start with my grandmother and then do that. Because I feel like I thought that it was more of a journey, for them, if they're like, okay, but how will she end this? As opposed to, because if I start with saying my grandmother is like this, I'm actually just starting with saying ki I'm a very reasonable person. Okay, I know it goes both ways. But I was like, maybe I should end it with being reasonable, and I can start it with like being a bit more interesting. So they can be like, I hope she redeems herself, because. But this goes both ways, right? Like the stereotype and the bigotry goes both ways. Like, it's in my house also. My Nani. She's great Nani, questionable human being. You guys have a Nani? If not a Nani, you have a Dadi, right? There's always a spare. My Nani only wants 3 things from me in life, okay? It's to eat on time, to sleep on time, and to not talk to Hindus. And I'm like, Nani, we live in Hindustan. This feels like a pre-partition decision. It's too late for this. But she really feels this way, and she grew up super religious, Genuinely, like when she was younger, her friends were having fun and writing love letters to boys, and she was like ratting on them. She was like, Shagufta love letter likh rahi hai. वो भी हिंदू लड़की को. They're like, how do you know? She's like, left to right लिख रही है. So I
This is the second applause break in the bit. The first one was in the Uber bit when you said enthusiastic rape applause, and it comes almost at the similar time in this bit. Did you notice that as a pattern? Did you plan that out?
No, not at all. I was hoping for more applause breaks throughout this bit.
We all?
I think, you know what? Thank you for pointing out that there are only 2 in this. I'll tell you why. Because I'm about to record a bit and I'm really trying to make it so tight that there's an applause break every 3-4 lines. And I realized that even though there's only 2 in this, by my standards, this bit did well. So,
But that's what I wanted to just
Yeah.
point out and say. I think that's another place where you are not you. I'm just saying I feel a little uncomfortable because everybody is wanting to get as many applause breaks in a set and a standing ovation at the end. So we kind of tend to make hacks to do that, which is,
Yeah.
there's a sense called clapter, which is like
Yeah.
if you say anything about like, yeah, that you believe in, you get a clap. But
Yeah,
not
those are
necessarily a
gross.
laughter.
Yeah.
But then even including standing ovations and others, sometimes it comes through context of who the person is.
Yeah.
And there's in India, you also have that every popular person becomes a celebrity,
Yeah.
and celebrity is a popular person, and we are in the profession of popularity. We are stand-up comedians when we are at the mic, but when
Yeah.
we put things on YouTube, we are trying to fight for popularity. Like, it's
Yeah,
trouble.
we want people to buy tickets to our shows. So we have to try to fight. It's in fact a side effect. I wish we could all just pursue stand up without trying to compete to be, but that's like a fucking ideal world.
So in the new bit that you're working, do you think that's a standard you should be keeping? That I want an applause break.
No,
every 10
this
seconds?
makes me rethink that. That why am I so anxious? Because if this bit has helped me a lot. A lot of audiences come because of this bit. And by standards of views, it's okay. It's in the middle of how many views bits should get. But that's not the point. It's not always comparative. It's about how much it has helped me. So if it has helped me and it only has 2 applause breaks, I don't think my next bit I need to aim for that many applause breaks. It will still help my career and me. And clapter is something I really didn't want to do in this bit because it can be very preachy.
Yeah.
So I really tried not to. I always try to have a laugh and then a clap as opposed to just sahi bola. We should all be
Yeah.
brothers and sisters.
Correct, yeah.
And my Nani is super excited to die. Like she thinks that's where the after party is. She thinks about afterlife and she's like, apna time aayega. The thing is, I'm an atheist, okay? And I don't tell my Nani because I really, really love her, okay? And also, she's really, really rich. So if I play my cards right, apna bhi time aayega. So whenever she comes over, I overcompensate. I'm like, Quran. Yeah, Maulana ji. It's like मैं 2 बार और नमाज पढ़ लूँ. My nanny's like, Urooj, you're too sexual for religion. Have you considered atheism? My friend was crying in the house, my friend Shagufta. My nanny was like, what happened? And I was like, her boyfriend broke up with her. And she was like, I told you, सारे हिंदू लड़के ऐसे होते हैं. And I was like, he's Muslim. She's like, इनका कोई ईमान नहीं होता है. I enjoyed.
Yeah, my name is Urooj Ashfaq.
I've enjoyed your impression of me more than I've enjoyed the bit.
Yeah, my impression of you.
Just the dancing the same way.
In the last bit, what I really enjoyed was that once you set up your grandmother, it's not the major chunk of your bit. If you can see, this is all your grandmother's bit.
My nanny, when I did this, I had to take permission from my parents because my nanny is not fully like this. This is all the things I've heard from all my relatives put on one person. Because how can you keep going? My daddy said this, and then my uncle's mom said this, and my chacha's nanny said this. How you'll say? So I
So
was
you
like,
took all the bigotry of your family and you personified onto one person.
it was just, I thought it was cleaner, simpler,
What your
easier. That way.
grandmother say.
No, my grandmother also, of course, by the basis of being a grandmother, is has a lot of her quirks. That's what I like to call them. But she's not as shitty as I made her sound. So I had to ask my mom, and my mom is like, "Yeah, I just tell her you're joking. It should be fine." And then I felt worse.
Of course, you're a stand-up comedian. You are joke. When did this become a life documentary or an autobiography? That's what I think happens with comedy. It's just like, of course, you're telling the truth. We're like, we're telling the truth by telling you a joke.
We're joking.
A joke is not to be believed, but the subtext of the truth is to be believed.
Most of it is lies. Yeah, I just didn't want her to feel bad because I knew she would watch it. She watched it.
And?
She liked it.
She liked it.
She was like, yeah, okay. She was like, I knew you were joking. My nanny actually understood stand-up comedy a lot better than most youngsters. But she was like, yeah, you're joking, right? We got it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, I know it's not me.
That's amazing because I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe I overthink like what the audience, but I feel like people get it. They get it. People who don't get it get offended.
Yeah, that's true. Someone said this, I forgot who said this, but they said with any other art form, when you fail, people don't get angry. Only in comedy, if you intend to make people laugh and they don't laugh, they get very, very angry.
There's another profession.
Which one?
Surgery.
Oh, that's
People
true.
get angry.
They definitely get quite upset.
Quickly from there, you go into excited. She thinks that she wants to die very quickly because she
Yeah.
thinks that the excitement after party is happening there.
Yo.
Apna time aayega. I am an atheist. So she's very, very nice and she's very, very rich.
Yeah, this is true.
Then comes the next bit, which is a completely performance-based thing, which is Quran, Maulana ji, namaz. Do baar aur namaz pad ली थी वो.
Yeah.
3 tags for it. Very funny.
Yeah.
Any flack?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I got flack in 2 parts of this video. One was for this because I said Quran, yeah, Maulana ji. So that upset people. They did comment about it, and I did think about it later. But I think I could have. I know what I could have edited from it. And probably not Maulana ji. Maybe I could have removed the Quran part. But the joke was that my nanny in the end tells me that you're too sexual for religion. Because I thought if you have to approach religion enthusiastically because you want money, what's the funniest type of enthusiasm for religion? Sexual enthusiasm. Because religion is not a sexual thing. So it would be very funny if I was taking the wrong route to get this money. And then my nanny is like, you only stop. But that was the underlying joke. It was not so much the words. But I think that's what I wanted people to laugh at the fact that I'm being so stupid and not at the words. But that's not what happens. People don't sit to understand it. They're like, you said though. Even in earlier when I say आप बहुत enthusiastic हो, आप मेरा rape करने वाले हो, people were upset with that also because it's the word. I think people don't think about what you mean with the joke. They just hear the word and they get very triggered. The joke is that all women are very scared when they step out at night, and every second when you are going out at night, you try to gauge your Uber driver by how he's talking. If he's on the phone, you remove your headphones, you try to listen if he's talking to his family, or is he like coordinating someone will stop the car aage or something. The point is the paranoia is what I wanted to convey. Is like, I'm so paranoid that someone's being nice, but because I'm a woman stepping out at night, I was like, aap mere rape karne wale ho. But they heard the word. So this and the Maulana ji and the Quran thing, same thing. The words, instead of seeing what the joke is. For the earlier joke, a lot of women defended me because surprisingly, a lot of boys, and this always happens, of course, because I'm a female. Uh, I'm a female. But they were like, how can you make this joke? And a lot of women responded saying, dude, what the fuck? She's talking about the fact that we feel fear at night.
I think I know why.
Why?
Because a boy's brain will go like, how she say rape? I can't say rape.
Yeah.
So the thing is, another thing that I've figured, I don't know, which is unfortunately the state we are in right now. Any art form is the subtext that you need to look at, right?
Yeah.
Here, the words offend.
Yeah.
What that means is, how can you say it? Don't say it. How dare you say it?
Yeah. Don't say the word in
Don't
a
say the
comedy
word.
setting.
Just don't say the word only.
Yeah.
Because you can't say the word in any emotional setting.
Yeah, I was pretty
Whether
afraid to say rape and Quran right now, TBH. It's like, should
Yeah.
I even mention it?
No, but, I mean, it's up to you. We can, of course,
No.
edit this out and put
I'm
it on
saying the
Reels to
word,
make it
the
popular.
fear of the words. Yeah, please, yeah, visit me in jail.
Yeah, follow her in Tihar, not on Tihar or the handle. Because what I was trying to say was that when you expose an art form which is meant to be in a closed room
Yeah.
with people who have come in with the full context of what it is and the subtlety of the subtext is what they want to go back with. The conversation you want to have is, isn't it actually true that women do feel that? Has now been replaced on the internet with the loudest voices. How dare you say this?
Yeah.
Don't use this word, don't use it. It's
Yeah.
become word, right?
It's become about words.
And I think somewhere kind of course, learning from it, but also being like, is it just a situation we are in right now? Because as stand-up comedians, we are on YouTube as a platform, which is
Yeah.
meant for consistent creators creating stuff. Good, bad, ugly, that's up. The audience that is watching stand-up for us to become popular isn't the audience that enjoys stand-up. So of course, if there's offense that's gonna come in, I'm presuming it's coming from how dare you say a word, then understanding what the subtext is.
Yes.
So I don't know the solution to it, but I know if I do perform in a closed room, and if this joke does work really well, the audience doesn't like, even if they don't send a DM saying that how dare you use it.
Yeah.
Because the audience that comes to live show
Yeah.
is a different audience than the audience who likes to watch comedy online. And somewhere I think we've transitioned from entertaining a live audience to using them as laugh tracks to service a larger audience who, of course, most of them will get offended.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good way of looking at it. That it's actually about the thing is, it's not the thing is that's the right way to look at it. That it's about the live audience. You're not trying to please the people watching at home. You are trying to find people who like your comedy and come. I think more what at least I'm trying to do, a lot of comics are definitely trying to do now, is not try to piss off the people who are watching at home. And that's because of the consequences, right? The thing is, it's okay for people to be upset at my joke and not like it and retaliate. But as long as that's the consequence of it. If the consequence is jail time, if the consequence is cancellation, if the consequence is your personal safety, that's too much. I'm ready to get flack. I'm ready to get hate. I'm ready to have people tell me that they think I'm a terrible comedian, which they will no matter what. So that's okay. Those are words. But when there are like, because I've said words, you're allowed to say as many words as you want in return.
Yeah.
But now, if you're going to do the thing where you're going to file an FIR because you heard a word that pissed you off without really understanding the joke, you're going to send me to jail, then I'm like, it's not worth it.
I mean, thank you for actually dwelling a little longer in this, because it makes, like, for me and hopefully everyone who's watching and listening also being like, that's true. Is it the word? Let's give the online audience something fun, which is a good advice.
Yeah.
And find your live audience from the online audience where you can be more you.
Yeah. The thing is, whatever you put out on YouTube will always be like, if I'm recording now from my hour, I'm taking out bits that I think are okay, will not get me into trouble, and two are funny. They have to be the funniest, obviously, and that it'll drive people to my shows who like the rest of my jokes that now still exist in my joke bank. I don't want to give them a false. I can't pretend to be somebody else because they'll be disappointed. They'll buy ticket once and then they'll go away. कोई फायदा नहीं है to fake a personality or to fake a sort of, because if you put your mind to it, you will figure out what works or what kind of jokes people want to hear, how you can pandering. Everybody knows how to pander, but that'll just sell you a ticket once, because then when they come back and then they see the rest of your hour, they'll be like, wait, you're not who you pretended to be online. So yeah, I think not to give them garbage, but to give them the most safe version of what is actually me online.
All right. So basically, online audience deserve your dry waste, and the live audience deserves your wet waist.
Yeah.
Nice. Should I quote you on that?
No, that's your quote.
तुम्हारे मुंह में हम शब्द डाल रहे हैं. That brings us to actually the end of the entire breakdown of it. I have how long did it take for you to craft this from get go, right from smaller jokes? Which joke came first, and then how did the structure become?
Grandmother came first, then Uber driver thing happened. 2017 se I was probably working on this, so 2 years it took me for
Which
this.
out of these is like the first joke that you wrote, and was it part of something else? Like,
Yeah.
which was there a bit here that you pulled out and put it here to make that
Grandmother. I actually wanted to talk more about my grandparents, and I wanted to use my grandparents as to talk about my entire family. I would use my Nana Nani to talk about everybody, but I would put the characteristics, I would equally divide between the two of them, and I would make a story up and I would put it out. But I just took it with my grandmother and I put it in the end of this because that was anyway a thing I wanted to talk about, how they behave. But this Uber driver thing happened, which was great. He behaved like my Nani, but from a different religion.
It's like your Nani,
Yeah.
but in the upside down.
Yeah.
Here, as you can see, 2017, this bit, grandmother came first, and then Uber
Yes.
story came. Then towards, I think when you started doing them together, you realized that's one bit itself.
Yes.
And then because one thing that I think Dinkar had also pointed out is that they don't seem like two different bits as much as they seem like perspective from here and perspective from here, so that both parties, like opinions are given on both parties.
Yes.
I don't know if that was again intentional
It was
or
intentional.
intentional in the crafting of it, but not intentional in the creation of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because they are two different bits. You thought observation or anecdote. And then when you saw an opportunity to combine both of them, like there is a larger thought to it.
Yes.
So one doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, one doesn't need to think of like a larger concept before start writing in your case, or is it like I just write jokes and when something comes up, then it's cool?
I think I didn't have the skill that time. Like now, okay, I started in 2016, I put this out in 2019, right? So I had 3 years of stage time. So what happened is that you're right, creation mein there was no intention, but crafting mein I was able to like do the whole thing where it looks like, oh man, she really thought this through. But actually it was luck and brain, right? Like this thing also happened, that thing also happened, and I put it together. So now I think if I would have, if just one thing had happened, I think maybe now or in a couple more years, I'll have the skill to do what people think I've done.
Right.
Where they'll be like, oh, she really put it together, and like, you know, but that was not what happened here. I think you can go about it either way, you know, but I think it would, if you have a concept that you're like, this Uber driver story is so good, I want to put it out, but I don't want to offend the other side. If you can come up with a grandmother part of it, that's great. But otherwise, my process is not कि पहले you think of the creation of the craft. My process is जो भी आता है पहले लिख दो और कर दो, क्योंकि ज़्यादा नहीं आने वाला है तुमको. You know, like I'm like,
nice. Yeah.
I'm like, you know, it's like you're like, man, there's a laugh. I'm writing it down. I will see it
They
later.
are so desperate for any laughter. Sometimes it's like you don't know the difference between whether it's gold or if it's just crystallized shit.
Yeah, you have to. That's why you have to bounce it off other comics for sure. Like whenever you record it or before you record it, you should just send it to as many comics and be like, you should let them know. Be like, please be brutal, and then you know. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that process should happen much earlier.
Oh, okay.
Like instead of you shooting and then giving I mean, like when someone asks me, what do you think about this bit? And then they send it to me once they've released the video on YouTube. I'm like, you don't need my opinion. Or the second one is, hey, I'm about to release this. What do you think? I said, it's too late. You've invested money. If you're working on a bit before you tape is when you're like, hey, this is the bit that I'm working on. What do you think?
That's definitely. I would say like that is better then, because you've invested the money.
Yeah.
Part. You're
Like
right.
not everyone has rich grandmothers, right?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So
Not everyone has.
hey, I can see Uber driver.
Yeah, hey, there
hey,
it
we
is.
found Uber driver. Okay, it says Uber driver Khargar/confess. See, so you wanted to work on confess. That's
Yeah,
amazing. 'Cause
you're
it did.
right.
Then there is started the trip without me, assassin. Usually respond in two ways: positive, negative. Same way programming language I write in. Muslim the kya? Shahrukh bhi. Oh wow, this is almost perfect.
Yeah. This
I mean,
is
perfectly the same.
Yeah, it is. It is close to that for sure. I really regret my Shah Rukh joke.
Thank you for showing us your notebook. It seems like the notes that you had written were almost exactly same to the final bit of it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad they matched up.
Yeah, and thank you for telling us the entire process of it. Now, if I had to ask you for an advice for myself, right, you know, as Abish Matthew, how would you tell me what should I, how would, like, you know, I don't know, what would you, like, you know,
first of all, as a person, I would start with the fact that you are very, very nice. No. Wait, let me think.
Even comedically, forget
Nahi,
person. Yeah.
comedically only, of course. What personal
I
advice I'll
don't
give?
know.
You be you, like be more who you are off stage, on stage, as opposed to, this is advice for me also, as opposed to what you think makes you look good and people want. Um, or what you think your peers will like. Again, this is all shit I tell myself on a daily basis also, so I'll say it to you also, is that because there are so many sources of validation, I'm just saying be yourself and have fun. I'm supposed to, this is how I'm saying it instead of just saying it like this.
Conversation with Urooj is always full of caveats because you give so many disclaimers, so many before getting to like, you be you. That was it, literally. You be you.
You
That's
be
the
you,
best.
I would
Thank
say.
you. And if to yourself,
To myself, I have so many, so thank you, this is, I'm so much more comfortable giving advice to myself. I would tell myself that don't be so scared of not doing as well as others. You're only in competition with yourself, as lame as that sounds. Hey, finest version of
that's
yourself.
what you started with.
Yes. Oh man, yeah, that's true. I have to be the funniest version of myself. And I just have to do as good as I'm supposed to be. And as long as I can afford rent. Like, that's what the goal of my comedy is. Afford rent and be the funniest version of yourself. And nothing else matters. So stop comparing and grow up, you little bitch. And pay your gas bill. Pay it. And don't fall for online scams. That's my advice.
That's great advice specifically for you. The second half of it, I might must I add because I want to have rent and food, as opposed to just rent, no bedding, no food. I want a shelter because I hate traveling from Kharghar every day.
Yeah, I'll sleep on the floor, dude. Just 1 square feet.
Feet at a time. Urooj Ashfaq, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming. And as a sign of our
Thank you for having me and letting me look intellectual.
oh yeah, I mean we'll edit it out to make it look
Flew,
like
fla, flew.
Uruj, we'd like to give you a gift for the time and the effort that you have
Oh my God.
given us. Can I have? Yes, thank
Is
you.
Lloyd going to be my friend? Is that my gift?
Wanderer. Can you?
Is Lloyd finally
Where
going
is he in
to
frame?
accept my friendship?
He's in frame.
Is he in frame? Is Lloyd in frame? I want to be friends with Lloyd, but it costs money. Hey, that looks so big. Oh my God, the size of this
One
gift.
at a time. Okay.
I always wanted to have a pointy object in my house that looks like.
So that when you get older, you
Yeah.
can hang your spectacles from behind it.
Oh! Oh, now it makes sense. Oh, it's for hanging spectacles. I put my sunglasses on it.
Yeah, gotta
This is
go.
really cool.
You
Oh,
got
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Here's another one.
What is this abnormal? Oh my God, it's just a giant bottle. Did you like previously have oil in this or something? It is a giant empty bottle. That's why you said stay hydrated on the. These
Yeah.
are all very phallic objects, first of all.
Thank you very much, Urooj Ashfaq, for coming on a journey of a joke and being partisan to this abnormal gift as well. Make sure you check out all of Urooj Ashfaq's social media handles. It's at Sumaira Sheikh.
Yeah. you
Those
should-
days.
When we were one entity. Yeah. Thank you for letting me be. Oh my God, it's like a thank you speech. Thank you for calling me on Journey of a Joke. And I really prepared to try to look smart for this podcast. I don't want people to find out that every joke is an accident and nothing is planned.
Nice.
And lastly, Lloyd, I hope you'll be my friend. That's it. That's the whole thing. Goodbye.
Yep, that's right. Just
Goodbye,
by
everyone.
asking, you have costed yourself $30.
Oh no. Damn it, I didn't read the menu.
Once again, thank you very much, Urooj Ashfaq. Make sure you check out all the videos. And I don't know, you know her. I don't need to say what it is. But
Hey, yeah, guys, follow my YouTube channel. Please.
that's right. Please do.